Welcome back, NAO Show, Week 10. We got 4 weeks until we go to the playoffs. Who's it going to be, boys? Thanks for coming back. Thanks for tuning in. We got Marky Mark and we got Michael. What's up, guys? How you doing?
Doing well, thanks.
Good week.
Wow, don't really come at me with all that energy. It's really killing me. All right.
Did you see my game? I have no energy after that.
Come on. It's Tuesday. Another week, another dollar, another goofy to kill. Oh, my bad. All right, let's go. Let's go with the scores. Marky Mark, start us off here, bud.
All right, let's start out with a good one for playoff implications here. We had defenses wins championships, 128. The underdogs, 118. I say playoff implications. They're both down there, 7th and 8th place, with more points than the teams that are 4 through 6 right now. So to me, that was kind of a big win for Aaron, maybe to keep in the hunt. And the underdogs stand down there with only 3 wins, maybe on the outside looking in. Mike, what are your thoughts on that matchup?
I don't want to play favorites, but we always talk about how good Aaron's team is and how it's looking. And I was just happy to see him get a win. Nothing bad about the underdogs and that team, but I was happy to see that happen. And I think you're right. He's still in the playoff hunt with 4 wins. I know right now you and I have 6 wins and we're the bottom 2 teams, but you're probably trending up a little bit. Unfortunately, I seem to be trending down. So anything can happen. I think that 4th spot is still up for grabs. So a win for him is perfect.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, I'm going to go right there with you. Nothing against the underdogs. I like Ryan Tannehill, the new age Ryan Tannehill, the Titans. I love that guy. But finally, does Josh Allen actually have a week in the last, 3 weeks? He hasn't done anything. He had 16 whopping points, 12 whopping points, and then finally – they're like, oh, wait, Josh Allen can throw the ball? Oh, we're going to throw the ball. 36 points. Surprise, surprise.
I thought a fun part before the game started, the Cowboys game started, Aaron told me that he expects the Steelers defense to be his RB1 for the week. And then if you go look, yeah, the Steelers defense still scored more than all his running backs.
Yeah, the Allen owners, managers, Allen managers were getting nervous, but he finally put up a good game. Now, it was against Seattle, the worst pass defense in the league. But, yeah, good to see that he got back on track. Maybe he can keep that going. I think the big difference there was that the underdogs started Jordan Reed and got 0.80 points. So only losing by 10 if they had got more out of the tight end spot. And, I think Evan made a post about it too. He's like, oh, crap, started Jordan Reed and didn't work out too well for me. So, yeah.
Good job, Evan. Keep on taking my dropped garbage.
Yeah.
Fine.
And you keep picking the underdogs. So.
Yeah.
We love you, underdogs. We love you guys. So next we've got
as long as we can throw you.
What's that?
We love you as far as we can throw you.
There you go. All right, next score we got is Frank's Beauties, 94, the Real Slim Brady, 91. This was a barn burner, and Dylan posted that he went to bed, he was relaxed, he got a good night's sleep, and he wakes up and finds out he got 6 points out of, 2 or 3 guys, and ended up with a loss. So, Sean, any observations on this one for Dylan, right?
Well, I feel like I'm personally attached to this going to sleep and finding out that the people that he thought were going to do well did not do well because they were all on my team, my Bucks team. And by the halftime, I was like,
right,
this ain't it. This ain't it. I was yeah, it was not good.
All right. Sean's tilting about his Bucks. Mike, what can you say about this one?
I take no joy in a win like that. I really don't. I went to bed the complete opposite. I went to bed all mad. Like, I'm not even going to look. There's no point. Fantasy's dumb. And woke up.
We've all been there.
Freaking hate fantasy, man.
Why do we even play this game?
But, I mean, the good news for me from the win, I guess, is Michael Thomas came out of the game without an injury. He looked fine. 55% snap count. I think he led the team in targets, although Drew Brees threw to like 18 different receivers. So, but I mean, a modest 7.6 points, but no injury. He looked fine. I'm cool with that. I think that's a good sign going forward, actually.
Yeah, it's good news for you. I was glad to see you had a taxi squad promo there in Zach Moss.
That was right before the game started.
Yeah, and he did well for you. I think anytime you can bring a guy off your taxi squad up to help you get a win, you're doing something right there. I mean, I'll give you some props for that. On Dylan's side, man, he had his defense, special teams outscored 5 of his position players, so that's not a recipe for a win. And that was just brutal what happened to him in that late night game. I would have thought I had it too. I would have rested easy, thinking I'll see my W in the morning, and poor guy had to suffer through another loss.
I admit I thought Godwin probably won't have a monster game because his fingers were splinted, but I didn't think that was going to go on.
Yeah, it was bad.
Even if you didn't have a monster game, you thought Tom Brady was going to get you more than 2.5 points. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That was a rough one for Bucs fans and for our buddy Dylan. So, all right, next up, we've got Tua time, 133. The Skippy Dogs, 84. So Skippy had a 4-game winning streak coming into this one, and that came to an end. So he was making a charge up the standings towards the playoffs, but couldn't overcome Steele in this one. So, Mike, any thoughts on that matchup?
Well, last week I wanted Ian to win this one, mostly for the playoff standings, and he went out and did it. So thank you, Ian. I appreciate that. It's a nice thing to do for everybody.
Yeah, Skippy was looking strong, charging up from, I don't know, something like 8th place on up to, just outside of the playoffs. So.
And Dalvin Cook missed 2 games in a row and then came back and made up for it pretty clearly.
In a big way.
Yeah.
In a big way. I feel for Skippy on this one because I feel like him with Le'Veon Bell and Adam Thielen's kind of the same with me, CEH and Justin Jefferson. If Dalvin Cook wants to run 1,000 times for 6 touchdowns, that's going to make Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson obsolete. The exact opposite happens when Patrick Mahomes throws the dart at the calendar and goes, oh, this is the game I'm going to throw 6 touchdowns. Everybody else in the run game is going to be obsolete. So
they got down early, though, in that one. But, I mean, yeah, they scored 33 points, so it's rough to see guys like Bell and CEH not score a bunch. But I think they were down like 14-6 at one point early. So at that point, I think Andy Reid just tells Mahomes to go win the game. Do whatever you got to do.
Yeah.
Go Mahomes it.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting to me this week that Steele, again, had 2 players that accounted for most of his scoring. So he's had some monster weeks from some – and Cook was involved both times, but between Rodgers and Cook, he had 67 points. That's half his score, so –
We'll get into the Rodgers thing.
That'll end in week 15, 16. You won't be able to do that then.
All right, moving on. We've got the Carsonists, Sean's team, 127 over Goofy Jace, who had 104. So Sean keeps his playoff hopes alive. Mike, what'd you think about this one? Kind of a big one, beating the top dog.
Yeah, talk about playoff implications from the last game. This one was probably even bigger. Sean came out and said what'd you say? Oh, you're welcome to everybody for your victory here, which, we'll go through the standings in a bit, but that was a big one for that.
For me, it was just finally, the last 2 weeks against that other guy and the other dogs, my team has just been like big old whoppers, like, oh, they're projected 14 points and they get 8, like, awesome.
Like, you did say that if you score 100 points, then you win, and there you go.
Go look at the scores. If I score 100 points, it's 130. You know what I mean? Like, I score 100 points, I'm going to win the game.
So that's your baseline.
That's the baseline. I break 100, you're going down.
You should have started Jacoby Myers. I wonder if anyone saw that coming.
Man, I wonder if somebody told me about him.
Yeah, that was a good one. He was on a lot of people's benches, I'm sure. So you got, Sean, you got some good gains from Watson and Chark there, which Chark, I had him in a redraft, and I kind of closed my eyes and put him in there with Luton starting, but worked out pretty well. And you had a taxi squad promo too, and DJ Dallas. So give you some props for having a guy on the taxi squad that you were able to press into service and get some decent points out of there.
So behind the scenes, it hits 12:55. My TV blacks out, doesn't turn back on. So 1 o'clock, I'm in the truck driving to Walmart, and all of a sudden my phone goes bloop 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 bloop, 74-yard touchdown, and I'm like, yeah. And I get into Walmart, I grab the first TV I see, I run out.
Wow, not a great time to have a TV emergency, huh?
Man, it was the fastest I've ever bought a TV in my life. I think I was gone 30 minutes.
Well, on Goofy side, Ridley was declared out right before the game, and Kamara, I think, had his lowest output against the Bucks. So you would think with Kamara's low score that the Bucks might have won, but
I was actually not surprised by Kamara's output more than I was about Aaron Jones's output.
Yeah, true.
10 points from Aaron Jones was top notch.
Yeah.
I mean, the Bucs defense have kept number one running backs to very minimal numbers all year. So
yeah, and part of Goofy's early success was that Russell Wilson, Aaron Jones, and Kamara. Those first three guys in his lineup were just scoring a good deal of his points there. And so, yeah, definitely kind of all came back down to earth. Russell Wilson didn't have a great game either. Threw for a lot of yards, but had 4 turnovers. So I had him in a redraft, and I got kind of a lower score than normal. So, yeah, that was a good win for you, Sean. I was glad to see you get back on track and keep in the playoff hunt. So the last score we have was the Bobo O'Reilly's 178, the Silly Biscuits 73. So, gosh, I had a fun day. After that point score last week, this was kind of a fun day to see me beat it by 100 points or so, But I just for Josh, it's just a kind of an unprecedented run of bad luck. Not much to say there. Evan was on the show, and he said, "Oh man, I look at Josh's roster and he starts talking about the injuries and the physically unable to perform, and I was thinking, it's not that bad, he's got a few guys." But then when I played him this week and I actually looked at that roster closely, I was like, holy crap, man. Poor Josh has to go in with this every week. So, yeah, not a lot to say there. I was glad to get the win for sure and stay in the playoff hunt and get a good point total to help me stay up above some of these other teams trying to make a charge. Any thoughts on this one, guys?
It looks like McCaffrey was never really gone. It was a nice little – I know he got hurt at the end, which is really unfortunate, but that game he looked pretty great. He looked like they rested him the right amount of time, which I think other teams should look at that with some of these extra hamstring injuries we're seeing. Yeah, he looked fine.
Yeah.
I've got 2 points on Hill's side. He should be pretty happy to see that Lamb came out and got him 13 points. That's pretty good, 71 yards and a touchdown. That fumble's probably not going to happen very often, but
right.
13 points out of a draft pick is pretty darn good. And James Conner, 3 points. I know you scored 178 points. You weren't really caring about your 3-point dud, but James Conner with 3 points against Dallas. Who saw that coming?
Yeah, going in the game, I'm like nervous about starting Christian Kirk, but thinking it's a good stack with Kyler. And not worried at all about Connor, So, yeah, I kept – and my phone was mysteriously quiet. Sean, I don't sit there and score watch. I watch the games. I don't watch the scores for fantasy. But I do hear the notifications coming in, And I'm like, my phone hasn't gone bleep in a while, And isn't Connor playing? Did he get hurt, Just expecting to hear a little bit more out of him, So yeah, that was kind of weird there, but I'm glad to have survived a 3-point Connor matchup, and yeah, I think he should do better moving forward. So, but yeah, this is normally where we would do the Miyagi, but Josh is kind of taking the fun out of the Miyagi with that unprecedented run of bad luck, like I said. So I guess we'll note that he's got the lowest score, and we're not going to really. I'm not going to really worry about the Miyagi Award unless somebody besides Josh gets it. Maybe we'll see if Josh wants to change his name to the Miyagi Waxers. Maybe we'll, we're trying to get Steele to go 2 a time. We'll get him to go to Miyagi Waxers, and we'll just leave it at that. We don't have to do the Miyagi for now. Any thoughts there, Mike?
Yeah, I think we were talking about a little bit before the show, and we do the Miyagi based off just straight points scored. But everyone knows that Sleeper does their little weekly recap as well. And he's never been voted worst manager by Sleeper, which, I know he doesn't have a lot to work with and stuff, and we kind of pick on him for that team. But not ever being worst manager, I think, is a kind of a little bit of a bright spot there. He's playing the right teams. It's just unfortunate, what he's got.
Setting the best of what he has. Yeah. Sean, anything?
So, if you're listening to this show, go into the chat and say that we need a league rule that if you are the last person in the league at the end of the year, you need to have your name as the Miyagi Waxers for the rest of the next season. We need to start doing these league rules. Let's get crazy with it. Continue.
Sounds fun, but I don't know if the co-commission will go for that one. We'll have to see.
We're doing both. Everything goes well when we put things
we vote well, yeah.
Yes, we do. We have some fun votes. We have some fun votes, man. Yeah, we haven't voted in a while. Let's do that. It'll be fun.
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, Mike, why don't you run down the standings for us?
Well, the big news from the week is we have a brand new number 1. First time all season, the number 1 is swapped out. Congratulations, Ian. Sorry, Sean. I know that sucks to hear for you, but congratulations, Ian. You've had a very solid team. I think the number 1 spot is actually pretty deserved right now. Really, other than that, that was the only difference in actual position moving around. I know we were talking about some interesting points for, points against. We all kind of noticed one I noticed was my points against is 969, which is the lowest in the league right now. So Ian was talking about being blessed yesterday. I guess I can't deny it, man. I luck is a big part of it for me right now, and I can't deny that. So I don't know what else you guys see. We were talking about a few of them.
Go ahead,
Mark. I see, we talked about underdogs and Aaron both with more points in places 4, 5, and 6. So, yeah, good point there that your points against has definitely helped you stay up in the playoff hunt. But, Skippy and Aaron could both make some noise there. It'll be interesting to see 4 games left if they can get up there into that 4th spot. So it's going to be definitely competitive, I think, in that area. And Sean's still in there too in the hunt. So I'm really looking forward to these next 4 weeks.
Yeah, let's just say I'm not going to put this bad juju on you, but if Skippy and Sean lose next week and Aaron wins by a normal point, he'll actually be right up in 5th. So
yeah.
And I play Silly Dilly this week, and I'm not counting him out. He is not a 2-7 team.
Nah, he's got a good roster. Just hasn't always started the best lineup, But he's definitely got some guys that can do some things. So, Yep. All righty. Well, let's move on to some trade talk. We had a couple of big trades this week. I'm looking forward to talking about both of them. So let's get right to it. I'm going to start off with the trade between Goofy and Steele. So we had Goofy trading Aaron Rodgers to our best buddy Steele, Sean's best buddy Steele, for Drew Lock, Steele's 2nd-round pick, and McJammer's 3rd-round pick. So this one was – I put these things in a calculator. I think anybody who's tried to trade with me knows that I'm a big calculator guy. So this one said it was fair on the calculator. Sean, what are your thoughts on this trade?
I'm just going to let you go on this one.
All right.
I'll be over here.
In a funnel, in a tube, this is a good trade. I see where Goofy's going. I see where Tua Time's going. What have you? But what in God's name are you doing, Goofy? Freaking Ian's team has one downside, is that he has to figure out what freaking quarterback to play every week. That's the only downside he has. Now you give him Aaron Rodgers, a top 5 quarterback, and now he doesn't even have to even look at his team. He just sets it, forgets it, and he goes, oh, yeah, call me when I'm playing you in the freaking playoffs. Oh, yeah, Goofy, you might have to play him in the playoffs. Did you not freaking think of that? Okay, I digress. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Wow. I think Sean is mildly upset about that one. Mike, how about you?
I mean, I agree. I agree with pretty much the whole thing. In a vacuum, it's okay. It's fine. It's an understandable move. But, yeah, I don't think I would have given Ian a solid quarterback to start. And one of the things that we talked about was the timing of it. It happened at 7:35 for an 8:20 game. And I don't think Ian could have put him in his starting lineup any faster than he did. And he goes out, a vintage Aaron Rodgers performance, like you said, about a quarter of his points. And there we go.
And Ian was just sitting on that Aaron Rodgers gift to put on the chat,
Mm-hmm.
Well, I do know a little inside info. I don't think I'm giving away corporate secrets or anything, but they were talking about that trade earlier in the day. Goofy just asked for a quick thought on it, so they were talking about it early in the day. It just so happened it got done at that time of day. But yeah, for me, I agree with you guys. Gamesmanship, you're competing in this league. You don't want to give one of the top guys another piece that he needs to win. And he was starting, he's got Breeze and Cam Newton. He had Drew Lock, of course, not the best quarterback situation for him. And now having Aaron Rodgers, who's having a resurgence, man, he definitely he could have given him the last nail in his coffin if they both end up in the championship this year, So again, like you say, in a vacuum, right. It was a fair trade. I can see, Goofy's got, he's starting Russell Wilson every week. So he's got Rodgers, Ryan, and Roethlisberger on his bench going off. Why not get a little something for it? So he got a couple of picks. My only knock on Goofy was the picks it's my 3rd rounder and it's Steele's 2nd rounder. We're both in the top 4 right now. It's not looking like those could be the highest of picks. They're going to be lower round picks, or lower in the round picks, So yeah, that was a weird one. I would have rather seen Goofy hold on to Rodgers, but now we're going to have to, I guess we're going to have to step up our games if we want to compete with them. So
good luck. Dalvin Cook is doing 40 points a game. Good luck.
Yeah. He's rolling. This is the time of year you want to be peaking, and it seems like Ian could be peaking right now. So that's good.
Oh, don't give him that much credit.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'm calling him like I see him, man. Well, we had another trade today. Our buddy Sean here. So let's see what this one entailed. We had Sean trading the Edwards brothers, Gus and Brian, and his first rounders from the 2021 draft and the 22 draft, and Josh Hill's 3rd rounder. So I didn't say that really good. Gus Edwards, Brian Edwards, 1st rounder from 21, 1st rounder from 22, Josh Hill's 3rd rounder from 21, all for Joe Mixon. Wow. My initial comment is that my calculator says Sean overpaid. Mike, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I think based off the calculators, I mean, obviously you can't disagree with what the calculator says, but it looks like an immediate overpay. I think though that, in talking to Sean a little bit afterwards, I know what he was thinking just a little bit going into that and kind of shoring up that last flex spot that he had. I think he did it. I don't have a problem necessarily overpaying for something if you're doing it, I guess. And getting that 3rd, good flex spot in there instead of having to guess every week, I think that could be worth the slight overpay. Yeah, I don't mind it. I paid a fair price for Mixon earlier in the year, though. I'm just saying.
Well, Sean, tell us what your What was your reasoning here for this trade?
Yeah, Mike's hit it right on this head. I have 3 awesome running backs right now, and Joe's the younger, higher upside tier 2 running back that I could fit into a flex spot. And when he's in there, he smashes, but he is a little injury prone. That's why I like him at the flex spot. So I was okay with overpaying for him because I don't ever play for the injury. I play for the player. And going forward, my starting running backs are probably all in the top 15. So 4 starting running backs in the top 15.
Well, you definitely got some good depth there then. So remind me, then you got Jacob, C.H.
Chris Carson and Joe Mixon.
Okay. Yeah. If you get them all in the lineup at the same time, that's definitely some. Yeah, you're right. They're all kind of RB1s most weeks if they're doing their thing. So, yeah, again, I said I thought you overpaid. I made a lower offer than that with 1 first-round pick involved. So when I saw it, I was like, wow, he just traded the farm for Joe Mixon there. But after hearing you and Mike talk about having that for a flex spot, I can see it. I can see it. You're going for trying to get back up there in the playoffs. You kind of had to make a move after some of those lower scores that you had. So
I think you did it in the right week too. I think if you had waited even maybe 1 more week just to see what happens or anything like that, it may have been the wrong time. I think this was a good time to do it if you're gonna pay for something like that and get a guy like that in there. I think you're doing it right when you need to.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, and I agree. I paid a little bit more for a flex spot, and that is something that came up in the talk between the other team, underdogs. But I felt confident, and he felt good, and that's kind of how I want to leave every trade. When you get into a trade with me, are you good? I'm good. I'm not going to try to trade rape you, and you're definitely not going to trade rape me, or else,
Well, you say he's a flex spot, but he really is an RB1 if he gets on track. If he comes back in healthy, their line has been pretty abysmal the last 2 years. Last year he was kind of matchup proof. This year he's been dinged up and not quite gotten back to form. But I remember when I was trying to trade with him, Evan was saying late season Mixon is a thing. So he's counting on, like he did last year, kind of busting out and being good for the playoff run.
Mm-hmm. So you want to take just a little bit of credit for it, since I think, 2 weeks ago on the show, I said, why is he not trading Mixon?
Yeah.
He's winning without him. Trade him.
Yeah. And you're right. The timing is good because, as soon as he goes off, the price might be untouchable. Mm-hmm. I think Sean paid a pretty big price as it is. They might not have been so motivated to move him if he had a good week for him and they thought maybe they could hold on to him. So,
I mean, what's the floor for a flex guy? 10 points? If the flex guy gets 10 points, you're like, all right, that's pretty good.
Well, my team might be happy with that.
That's what I say. If you're flexing in, say, Carson and Mixon, and they're getting RB1 or RB2 numbers, you're doing it right. You're doing a good job there. So it was a gamble. You paid for that, and let's see what happens here. We could be saying, damn, Sean won the league because he went out and got Mixon.
Mm-hmm.
Well, looking not to get too into the numbers because that's not what we do on this show, but
right.
Week 12, they play the Giants. Week 11, they play Miami. Week 14, they play Dallas. Week 16, they play Houston. Like, if I do make it into the playoffs, I kind of like Mixon being there helping me help,
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see. And the thing about that, now they got, I think, 3-round picks, because that was one of my selling points to them is like, hey, I'm offering you a first rounder. You can kind of own the draft here with 3 first-round picks, Now they got the 3 first-round picks and then 1 to boot for the next year. So should be interesting to see moving forward.
Do we want to talk about that Brian Edwards is no longer in our group for the first time all season?
That's right. We traded. What was my joke? we moved Brian Edwards around like a frat house floozy between the three of us. It was Mike, and then it was Sean, and then it was me, and then it was back to Mike, and it was back to Sean. So 5 times, 5 trades he was involved in with the three of us. And Evan got jealous, and he's like, hey, I want him now.
All on just potential, which is kind of crazy to me.
Yeah, he's been hurt
all year.
How many
games he played? 1 game?
Yeah, he's been hurt all year. Has another thing hardly. All right, guys, let's move on to some matchups to finish up here.
Let's do it.
Start off with Defenses Wins Championships versus Goofy Jace. I picked this as my marquee matchup because Goofy Jace has been slipping a little bit. He's down to 6-3 now. And, of course, Aaron won last week to keep his playoff hopes alive. The projection's not great for Aaron, but it, like I said, big for playoff implications. Sean, what do you think there?
I think it's going to be closer than what the projection is right now. We'll see if Ridley comes back. If Ridley comes back, this game is over already. But good news from my man, Defenses Win Championships. It looks like Chubb is going to make a return to the league, return to the starting lineup.
I think he's leaving that RB1 spot empty on purpose, waiting for Chubb.
Empty for him. It's raring to go.
He doesn't mind a bad projection as long as he can get Chubb up in there later in the week, right?
Is that what she said?
Yeah. Close. That was pretty good. Yeah. If I can get a Chubb later, I'll be happy. That's what she said.
Yeah, that's what she said.
All right. Let's move on to the next matchup here. We got Tua Time. I think he's going to change his name now that Tua had a good game. It'll be Tua Time versus the underdog. So this one for me is interesting because it's the top dog against the 4th highest. They got the 4th highest points for, I think, maybe. So they can make a statement by knocking off the top dog. They may still be on the outside looking in for playoffs, but it should be an interesting one. Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, I think this one might come down to some of just the individual game matchups. I think they both have some pretty good ones. I was looking at one. No, I can't find it. Antonio Gibson for the underdogs because, I mean, we all saw what happened with the injury there in Washington. So now they're rolling out what's his name, Alex Smith.
Alex Smith, yeah.
And how is that going to impact a guy like Gibson who I was reading a little bit afterwards. He hasn't had a single 3rd down touch all season.
Right.
So what's that going to mean for a new quarterback going forward? And Alex Smith is kind of a dump off guy. So
yeah, I heard that today. And McKissick with the 14 targets there seems like he's the check down Charlie guy.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Sean?
I'm right there with Mike on this one. I think it's going to be coming down to these random matchups. I think Aaron Rodgers, thanks, Goofy, 21 points under his projection. I think he's going to blow that out of the water against Jacksonville, which is good because I need Jacksonville to throw the ball to G.J. Chark 1,000 times. But yet again, this is why I'm like, Goofy, what are you doing? Come on, man. Look at his team. Like, Hunt, even with Chum coming back, he's a solid flex play.
Yeah.
Hopkins, DK, like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? All right. I already said my piece. I'm done.
You say you're done, but I think it's going to come up again. All right. Next we got the Silly Biscuits, Silly Spicy Biscuits going against the Skippy Dogs. So this is a chance for Skippy to get back on track. Maybe keep making a charge up those standings for the playoffs. Sean, any thoughts on this matchup here?
Well, I wouldn't count on Hill just yet there, Marky Mark. Kansas City's on bye. That means Le'Veon Bell's out and Travis Kelce's out.
Yeah. Bell, not so much a big deal, but Kelce definitely a big deal. That guy's a stud, man.
And Adam Thielen's going up against Chicago, so.
Yeah, it's a tough matchup. Although he's got Robinson who could go off against Minnesota, definitely. So, Mike, what do you think there?
Yeah, I think like Sean said, the big thing there is going to be Kansas City on bye this week and how he's going to fill those. I know Justin Jackson and not Kansas City, Sandy. Where are they now?
They're somewhere out in California. California
the Chargers.
Those guys.
No,
I did it. I've done it too, so don't feel bad.
He's a little dinged up. I think, we talk about how Silly Spicy Biscuit, sorry. How he does set the right lineup. I think that could come into play today or this week. If he gets the right one, I think he could steal one.
Should be a good matchup. I'm looking forward to that one, honestly, because of the playoff implications for sure.
I'm rooting for you, Hill.
Yeah, me too. I need you to win this one.
Let's go, Waxers. Let's go, Waxers. All right, next we got the Carsonists going up against the real Slim Brady. So is Sean, are you going to win 2 in a row to keep that playoff charge going?
Well, I would love to, but I think Silly Dilly's got revenge on his mind. I stole one first week of the season this year on him, so he's not going to hold anything back. He's going to bring it all.
He'll be doing his homework for sure.
Mm-hmm. But he's got a tough couple fills to make for bye weeks. He's got Todd Gurley on fill and Julio Jones on fill. So
yeah. Those are tough ones to replace. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I think on his side, talking about bye weeks, those are going to be tough spots to fill. If I were Sean, I'd be a little nervous about some of these matchups you got going on this week, though.
Yeah,
you got some scary looking ones kind of across the board. I think Carson will be back for you, though, and like we talked about, you get Mixon in, but he's going against Pittsburgh, which not only do they have a good matchup or a good run defense, those conference games, they always kind of make me a little nervous there anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to say on Carson because they say that everything I see says he should sit 4 weeks. So, but at least he's got DJ Dallas who's in there scoring touchdowns and being relevant. So at least he's got that to pivot to. So
yeah, clearly if Carson's out, you do the same thing, toss in DJ.
Yeah. All right, our last matchup is me and you, Mike. It's on. We've gone all the way around the rotation, and we're back to the first matchup. So I know you got Zeke on bye, which is not a good thing for you. I'm wondering about McCaffrey now and the whole shoulder situation. What do you think, Sean? You're the odd man out. What do you think about this matchup?
Well, if I have to pick someone.
Uh-oh. So he's picking the underdogs and who?
Picking the underdogs. And especially the underdogs. Go underdogs. I'm going to pick a player. I want Michael Thomas just to give my own self the pleasure of knowing that picking him in the 4th round, the 4th overall pick was worth it. Michael Thomas, I need you to come out, smash, smash, smash.
Well, I'm getting Sanders back. Hopefully, see what happens with McCaffrey. Chase Edmonds may be a little better than he was last week in his second game in for Drake. So I got some guys, but I lost Preston Williams on an injury. It looks like, who was kind of a decent flex option. So. What do you got over there, Mike? I know Zeke's out, like we said. I think Mahomes is out too, right?
Yeah. So right now I have Bridgewater in, but he's going against Tampa Bay, so I haven't all the way decided on that. I mean, we're talking about bringing guys up from the taxi squad. I do have Justin Herbert down there.
Might be a Herbert week.
Unfortunately, he's got Miami, so it's not a great matchup.
Not a great matchup, but could be viable.
I do want to say it's better than Tampa Bay, but after the Saints game, I can't say much about anything right now.
And
I will say that the Saints aren't going to get you 16 points again, Marky Mark.
Yeah, I don't think so.
The Panthers did hang there with the Chiefs for a little bit, though, so we'll see.
Yeah. Well, I think we're about running out of time here, Sean. Anything you want to say before we go? Hey, Anna.
Well, that's Week 10 review at the NAO Show. Come back next week when you find out that I beat Silly Dilly in the Week 11. One thing. Oh, yeah. Ian, you suck.